time to get all cozy with your apple cider, hot chocolate tea, coffee, your cozy blanket to get all of those autumn spooky vibes that you're looking for. I'm going to be sharing some suggestions for movies and shows you can watch around this time of year. You might be like, hey, you didn't mention this movie or show. And sometimes it's because I couldn't find it on a streaming service, and other times it's because I've already suggested it in a previous video. So make sure to check those out after this. And a full disclosure, this is mainly for the thumbnail and this opening. I have an empty mug, but I did just have some lovely apple cider in this. I'll try my best to mention what streaming services you can watch these movies and shows on. There might be some crossover with the UK and US. These suggestions are based off of where I live in Canada. I'm also going to be mentioning another streaming service that you might not have heard of, but you may have access to with your library for free. It's called Hoopla. The first suggestion is Emily of New Moon, and if you're familiar with L.M. Montgomery, she's the author of this book series that this is based off of. It is a winter scene on here, but when I think of Anne of Green Gables as well as Emily of New Moon, I think autumnal. There's a little bit more of a spooky vibe to Emily of New Moon, kind of similar to Anne of Green Gables when she does the spooky forest. She unfortunately doesn't have her parents anymore. She's sent to live, I think it's in PEI as well, with two aunts, and the other one is cousin Jimmy. She finds some great friends, runs into some trouble, kind of similarly to Anne. She's a little bit rebellious like that. I found this on Hoopla to watch as well. Next up, we have Secret Garden. There are two versions, one from 1993 and most recently from 2020. I watched that one recently and really loved it. 1993 version totally has my heart, and I think that this leans a little bit on the spooky side of things because it's set in a country manor that's kind of dilapidated because her uncle, who she gets sent to live with because sadly both of her parents die suddenly, he isn't doing well himself because he lost his wife years ago, and he's not unfortunately much of a father figure, even though he does have a son who lives somewhere in the house. While she's outside, she comes across a secret garden, which is full of magic. There is also a book that it is based off of. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to find this on a streaming service either version. The 2020 version also I wanted to mention has Colin Firth in it, and then the actor who plays the mom of the Weasleys in Harry Potter. I love her in this one. She completely plays a different type of character. She's kind of like crusty and like a little irritated with the child that's come to live with them. I was able to borrow it from my library. Next up is one that I am desperate to watch because I watch Zoe on YouTube, Zoe Suggs Zoella, if you're familiar. She and Mark just love autumn. They talk about this movie called The Witches. Now there's a version of the original is from 1990, I believe, which I really want to watch, is the one that they talk about the most. And then most recently, I think, what was it? Was it 2020 that this one was made? And I find it hilarious because I don't think I've seen Anne Hathaway play this type of evil witch character, but I feel like she's totally channeling, at least from what I quickly saw in the trailer, the boss that she works for in The Devil Wears Prada. The quick synopsis that I have for you for that, because I haven't watched it myself, is there's this boy and grandmother and they run into a coven of witches at a hotel. I think they're having a convention. I'm not sure if everyone knows they're witches. I did find recently on Netflix. Let me know any autumn or spooky movie suggestions in the comments. I can't go too scary. I've got another book adaptation TV show suggestion for you. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find this one on a streaming service, and it is Little House on the Prairie. Now again, they go through all of the seasons, but when I think Little House on the Prairie, even though it's summer, I just think autumn. It's farming, wheat, and what word am I looking for? Foliage, trees, forest, long grass, and animals, and they do have a couple, you know, seasonal episodes. Recently, because I'm on season 3, there was a Halloween episode and it was so cute and funny. They thought there was a killer on the loose, imagine in Little House on the Prairie, where it's pretty, you know, low-key. Like I said, this is based on the book series. I haven't read it yet, but it is definitely on my list. I find season 3 has gotten a little slow for me. Season 1 was good, but I'm like really really looking forward to when I get to see Laura Ingalls and her sister grow up a little bit more. They're slowly getting more interested in boys. Who's that other girl that I watch on YouTube that really does a good job of seasonal videos? Oh, Darling Desi. I love her. So let's do a little break here between the movie and show suggestions. You have to watch Darling Desi. She is like killing it with the autumn videos as per usual. I will have her channel linked down below. It's just so lyrical and magical and really envelops you in the happy autumn feeling. This next suggestion is called Wednesday, and it's a TV show starring Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. I'm really excited to see the deep dive on this character. Wednesday is pretty iconic in her outfit and her hairstyle with the braids. I'm interested to see what her whole high school experience is like and the kind of person that she's going to be and the choices that she makes, knowing her spooky kind of Halloweenish family. I really hope it's good, and that one is on Netflix. These next two suggestions that I have, unfortunately I wasn't able to find them on a common streaming service, but again, these are ones that I got out from my library. And the first one, I cannot believe I hadn't watched. It's such a classic, you know, autumn rom-com movie, and it's When Harry Met Sally. And this one stars mainly Meg Ryan is pretty much the lead in this, but there is another character, of course, because there is Harry and Sally. So I just had to look that up really quickly. I can picture him, but I can't remember his name, and it's Billy Crystal. And if you know Monsters Inc., he voices the what's the green monster with the one eye, but basically yeah, he voices that one. It says it's a 1989 American romantic comedy drama. This one goes through many seasons, but there's an iconic one that I think is on most of the covers, like the movie poster, where it's set during autumn, and I think it's New York too, which I kind of think autumn New York, you know, she's walking with Harry and goes through multiple decades. If you're looking for a rom-com that has the ups and downs and for a second you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna end sadly, but then it doesn't, then I think this is a good suggestion for you. If I mention any movie or show where I wasn't able to find it on a streaming service, mention it below and then mention your country so people are able to kind of find it. And the other one is called Practical Magic. And again, I cannot believe I haven't watched this before. I loved it so much. Really good spooky movie to watch around this time of year. Practical Magic has two sisters who I think grow up with their aunts because something happens to their dad, and it's like this curse on all of the men in the family. And right when it starts, you kind of get the background of all that, so I won't talk too much on that. The two sisters are played by classic leading ladies, Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. They did such a good job, and I got all those 90s good feels as well, which is something I look for, early 2000s, 90s. Very nostalgic for me and for other people, maybe if you're around the same age as me. The one who ends up having a family, you know, is afraid that she's going to be happy and her husband's going to be taken away, and it's just this whole journey. There's also like maybe a murder, possibly. There's so much mystery to this. I was surprised a couple times and very satisfied by the end of it. Sometimes it gets a little too occulty and like the witch ritualistic type thing. There was a scene where I was like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna watch this part because it's not really what I look for, so I kind of skipped over that. But the rest of it, oh, it was so good. You have to watch it if you haven't seen it. If you're looking for, you know, something cheesy but not too cheesy and kind of that Disney Channel original vibe, High School Musical, zombies. That's all I have to say. I was a little hesitant to watch it because I was like, oh, is this gonna be really too cheesy, over the top? But if you like High School Musical, a big part of you is gonna really like zombies, and believe it or not, there are also 3 zombies movies. It's got a musical side to it. It stars 2 main characters. There's some romance between them, of course, between the zombie and the human. So it stars Zed, Z-E-D, which of course is the zombie dude, and then Addison, and it watches their struggle. I may have shifted a little bit. I had to change my memory card. Zed, Addison, the zombies from Zombie Town are given a chance to join the regular high school, and they're being thrown together. Pretty much you don't fall in love with a zombie type of situation because people will think you're weird and they're not as accepting. You know, it all comes together in the end because it's a Disney Channel original movie. Of course, you can watch it on Disney Plus. I just checked and I'm pretty sure that the first Scooby-Doo movie is also now available. The cartoon version, if you're really wanting to kind of get that Saturday morning cartoon feel, I believe a few seasons are available to watch on Amazon Prime, and I'm definitely going to be doing that. Scooby-Doo, you know, gives you that sleuthing mystery monster feel that you might be looking for. If you really like Ghostbusters and you're looking for another really good Ghostbusters movie, I would suggest watching Ghostbusters Afterlife. I was a little hesitant, you know, whenever there's kind of a little bit of a spin-off or a remake, the one in between basically the original and the Afterlife one, I really didn't like with the female lead. Unfortunately, it kind of fell flat for me. So that's why I was a little scared about the Afterlife one, but it was so good. I loved that movie. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not one of my favorites or anything, but it was definitely worth the watch, and that one you can find on Amazon Prime. When I think autumn, I also think, you know, September, school starting, you know, sports, football. Kind of like a sports-like movie that I would suggest is Remember the Titans. And that's just, oh, that's such a classic for me with Denzel Washington in it. You can tell that I'm not a sports person, but like the struggle with, you know, the team not being so great and having some issues between the players, getting along and working as a sports team. There's so much that goes into it, and just the acting is phenomenal. I haven't watched that one in ages, and I'm definitely planning to re-watch that. You can watch that one on Disney Plus. This one, Sweet Home Alabama, with she's in Legally Blonde, Reese Witherspoon, the classic rom-com actress. I had watched it basically around when it first came out, so that was 2002. I checked. I just love everything that Reese Witherspoon is in, but I didn't realize it when I was looking up, you know, like autumn movies, that it's basically set during autumn, so that's why a lot of people suggest Sweet Home Alabama as something to watch around this time of year. It's basically about Melanie Smooter, Jake Perry, as well as Patrick Dempsey is also thrown in the mix, Mr. McDreamy. If we have any Grey's Anatomy fans, Melanie and Jake, well, I won't really spoil it. There's some love connection there, but she is engaged to Mr. McDreamy, aka Andrew Hennings. You can watch that on Disney Plus. Oh my goodness, another one that I cannot believe I haven't watched. I really hope that I get around to watching it this year. E.T. is a suggestion that I have for you. Drew Barrymore, younger version in that. I'm desperate to see how cute she looks in that one, and the main character is a younger boy. He discovers E.T., and I'm sure most of you kind of have an idea of how it plays out. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. These next two that I was going to mention, the first one, I can't remember where I saw it available to watch. They have Julia Roberts starring in both of them. The first one is Mona Lisa's Smile, and the second one is Stepmom. Stepmom is a bit more on the sad side of things. Julia Roberts is the stepmom, and it's kind of about that experience of that transition period, and sadly the two kids, their mom is not well. I don't want to spoil it, but I believe there are some good classic autumn scenes in there. Mona Lisa's Smile, you know, you kind of get that school autumn vibe. That Julia Roberts plays an art history professor, and it's kind of about all of these lives of these women in the 50s or 60s, and how a lot of them are going to school, but then they're going to just, you know, focus on family, and there's nothing wrong with that, but then there's no aspirations in their entirety of their life, and some are looking for, but most of them are like, yeah, we go to school and then that's it, and there's no discussion or talk or thought of going beyond that or pursuing anything else, and it's kind of about that journey and what that experience is like. Stepmom, you can watch on Amazon Prime. Mona Lisa's Smile, not sure, but maybe check out your library if it's not on a streaming service. Next, we have one that I haven't watched in a really long time, but mainly because of the cake scene. I just got put off of it and it made me feel sick, but maybe I'm okay to watch it now. And this one is also based off of a book. It's called Matilda, and she discovers that she's magical you know, can make things float and happen and cause trouble at school with her very, very mean principal and not so nice parents. You can watch Matilda on Netflix. Next, we have Fantastic Mr. Fox, and this one is a claymation one, I believe. And of course, it's about Mr. Fox, and it's on Disney Plus. Again, I think this one's based off of a book as well. Very quirky and fun to watch. This one is autumnal because it's Thanksgiving related, and it's called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It has one of my favorite actors, Steve Martin. You might be familiar with most recently him being in Only Murders in the Building is another great TV show to watch that is on Disney Plus because it's kind of got that murder mystery vibe. Anyways, so yeah, Steve Martin is in this one, and John Candy. It's about these two strangers that somehow get thrown together on their journey back home for Thanksgiving, and lots of fun and interesting and hilarious things happen. You can watch it on Netflix. Next is, I think, more on the spooky side of things because it's kind of got that like whodunit type of thing, and it's a classic TV show, Pretty Little Liars. I think it's still available to watch on Netflix. I've got a few more suggestions for you and some honorable mentions. There were some suggestions in previous videos in the comments, which I really appreciated. Supernatural is another amazing, creepy, spooky show to watch. Supernatural, of course, suggests there are some supernatural things happening, ghosts, and it has one of my favorite people in it. His name is not Dean in this, but it is Sam. He plays Dean in Gilmore Girls, and then his brother, who is actually called Dean in that. They kind of work as a duo to kind of help the world with their supernatural problems, and they investigate. And I've only watched, I think, the first 2 seasons, and then it came off of Netflix, and now I believe it's available on Prime to watch, so I'm really excited to finish watching the rest of the seasons. Then we have Locke Key, which I was pretty sure that I had mentioned, but I guess I haven't, and it's based off of a graphic novel series, which I have to admit is way more graphic than the show is. So if you're looking to watch something that doesn't have too much blood and gore, then I think the show is safe to watch for you. There's a few seasons, I believe it was the 3rd one that recently came out that I started watching. It has the mom and then the 3 kids, which are basically the main characters, and they're the Lockes. Their dad sadly and suddenly gets murdered, and it's just like the whole mystery of that and who did it, and there's all of these magical keys. There's just so much going on in there. You're gonna be hooked as soon as you watch the first episode. And then I just wanted to pepper in here at the end some suggestions. Charmed, which I believe it kind of has that witchy 90s vibe, and then The Good Witch, it's a Hallmark. I'm not sure where to watch these ones, but if you know, let us know in the comments. Another one that I remember I keep trying to find to watch is that Casper movie with Hilary Duff in it when she was younger. It was like one of her first movies that she was in, but I am desperate to watch it. So if you know where to watch it, if it's on like a common streaming service for Canada, let me know. Lots of great spooky autumnal movie and TV show suggestions that I really hope that you'll enjoy. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more of the videos that I make, and make sure to hit the bell icon to be notified of my next upload, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!